Hi, Tim Sells here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the phrase, I'm not interested in a get-rich-quick scheme. So this particular series, I'm talking about what prevents somebody from joining network marketing or even looking at network marketing. And this particular one, like I'm always fishing for phrases and things like that. My wife told me that she's inside of a group, Facebook group or something like that, and they were tossing out. And one of the ladies said, "Hey, if I'm looking for work, if anybody has anything, but please no get-rich-quick schemes." And so my wife said that to me, and I was like, you know what, I need to do a video on that because I know what's going on here. Some people believe that anything other than a job is a scam. All right, and I'm not invalidating anybody. They're welcome to have that view. But if you are in a situation, you could maybe help that person with it. All right, and you're the person who decides whether or not you want to try to help or not. Depends upon, in my world, it just depends upon how much emphasis the person has on it. All right, so if they're adamant about having a job, and I've told a story before, there was a person who somebody brought to my house and told me about it. And he had 2 degrees, had never had a job yet. And I asked him if he would ever think about owning his own business. And he said, oh, absolutely not. I'm not the risk person. I want a stable job. But he had been in school for like 13 years and had never had a job. And every time that he would go out to get a job, he couldn't get a job. And he'd go back to school to get more education because he believed that the more education you have, the more qualified you are, and the more people who want you to work for them, okay? And so when I experienced that individual, I then was like, wow, that is just what he's after, and I'm not going to get in his way. And so he was thinking that I was going to try to talk him into it, and I said, well, you got your plan. Work your plan, right? And the guy who brought him to me was like, Tim, I brought him here for you to convince him. And I go, no, that's not what I do. I don't convince people. That's not what I'm about at all. So some people believe that anything other than a job is a scam, or anything other than a job is risky, or anything other than a job is blank. Okay, so that's what you're listening for in alert 2. All right, typically they won't research to prove something is or isn't legal, ethical, etc. And then also, they don't know the mechanics of wealth. All right, so get rich quick scheme. Become very, very curious and dig in and find out, like, okay, so what is the doing of this one? All right, so typically, it's a bit of a self-invalidation because they can't become wealthy. In other words, in their minds, they don't even think in that category. And anybody who thinks of in that category is a dreamer. All right? And that's what they don't want to become. So they can't envision themselves ever being wealthy. So why would I ever learn the mechanics of wealth? And the way that I look at it is, if I'm going to work, I might as well create wealth in the same amount of time. Okay, so that's the way that I do. So I can't become wealthy so that it prevents them from actually looking. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through typically how I will explain this to somebody. So number 1 is that I go, this is the IRS data, and what they're basically exposing here is how much of partnership and S corporation income based upon what income bracket they're in. And so the people who make $1 million to $1.5 million, 72.9% of their income comes out of partnerships and S corporation. Okay, so that's business ownership. And then it goes on up from there all the way up to 90% for people who make $10 million or more. Okay, so that's got to be a mechanic of the wealthy, right? It's a very stable item. Another one is, which category of business would you want to be in? Would you want to be in extracting raw resources out of earth and to go manufacture it? Okay, so you could be in raw resources, you could be in manufacturing, you could be in the branding side, which is the legal licensing, packaging, things like that. You could be in the warehousing of it. You could be in the selling side of it, which is the brick and mortar online store or a sales rep. Or you could be in customer service, which is not serving the customer, but it is serving returns, complaints, things like that, restocking, shipping, and so forth. Right? So in my world, I chose that I wanted to partner with all of those items, and I only wanted to do this one. Okay? Because they make the most margins on the product. So the margins between raw resources and manufacturing are small, 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 largest margin, small. So I wanted to be in the largest margins, and I wanted it to partner with somebody else to do all the other stuff. Okay? So that, to me, is a mechanic of wealth. And then, well, Tim, why aren't there services up here? Well, typically, I can run 50,000 SKUs in the manufacturing in a day. I can't cut 50,000 people's hair in a day. Okay, so I want to be able to manufacture something real fast and be able to sell multiple thousands of units. That is an absolute mechanic of wealth. Right? So I would rather be in the product industry instead of the service industry. Not cutting them down, just saying that from a mechanics of wealth standpoint, that's what I want. Okay, so then what is my job if I'm in the sales area? Well, it's to generate a lead, contact, set an appointment, do a presentation, follow up, and get a customer. That's what every business in the whole wide world does. Everybody does this. And so it's got to be done for every business. But I wanted to do it in such a way that I would be able to learn it well, and then train others. All right, that is the reason business ownership is such a wealth multiplier, is because the people who own the corporation have employees or they have independent contractors. It doesn't matter which one. I prefer independent contractors because I don't have to pay a person who's non-productive. I only have to pay someone who's productive. In other words, when they sell a unit, they make money. Okay, so that's the reason that I prefer this type of a model. So I can learn it, know how to do it. I can train it to others. They can train it to others. All right, so that's the reason that I do that. Okay, so when somebody looks and says, oh, well, it's a get-rich-quick scheme because we use the exponential factor. What's the exponential factor? One person gets 6 on the second level, and each of those 6 get 6. It's 36 and blah, 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 blah. And then it gets all the way down to the 13th level, and it's more than the world population. Ha, 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 what a scam, right? That's the way they put that, okay? But they never, ever look at it in any other way because they're fixated on this idea. But if you look at it, the average Instagram followers is 150. So in other words, if I have Instagram, the average is I will have 150 followers. Okay? Well, all of those 150 followers also have 150 followers on average. Okay? And so that's going to be 22,500 people on level number 2. That's 3 million on level 3. 506 million on level 4. So just because it's an exponential factor does not mean it's a pyramid scheme. It's just smart business. Okay? And Instagram is a smaller one. Facebook has 2.8 billion people. Twitter has 330 million people. Instagram has 112 million people. And so when you say, well, wow, how did social media get all of these people? What are they selling? You. Okay. You, if it's free, you're the product. Okay. That's what the catch is. All right. And so they have no problem using all of your contacts to run ads to. And so somebody had said to me, Tim, why doesn't social media like network marketing? And I go, we're the biggest competition, right? In other words, they want to just show ads and get paid for every time somebody promotes a product or a service online. And they want that to be an ad revenue instead of all of us using it, meaning like if these are my friends and I want to share it, they don't want that, okay? Because that's competing with their people who spend ads. And Facebook now will not show you most of your own friends, let alone your friends' friends now. Okay, so they have been cutting back the reach, I think since about 2012 is when they started cutting it back, and they're still cutting it back to this day. Okay, so just because somebody uses the exponential factor does not make it a scam. Doesn't make it a get-rich-quick scheme. But if I were looking at the mechanics of wealth, I would want this as a factor because it's one of the greatest wonders of the world is the way that it goes out like that, the way it multiplies, okay? And so if you just attached 99% won't buy and just said 1%, $1, you can look at it, right? So that's the reason that I feel as though that it is a mechanic of wealth. So if you're going to work, why not have the mechanics of wealth in your favor instead of saying, I don't want any of those get-rich-quick schemes, right? So it's not a get-rich-quick. It is, I just want to make sure that I could get rich. I remember driving down the road when I had first looked at network marketing. I didn't know anything about it. I thought Amway was a train, Amtrak, Amway. Really never, ever, ever did I ever see anything about it. And so I remember just thinking about it, and I was like, man, this is crazy, you know? Like, and I was on my way back to the Navy base, and it was late at night, and there was this guy that was out in front of me, and he was, and I just kept seeing like these sparks flying out of the truck in front of me. And I'm like driving, I'm trying to catch up to where he was. And I was like, what in the world is that coming out of the back of his car, his truck? You know, so I caught up to him and I looked, and his bumper was broken on one side and it was bouncing off the road. And every time he hit a rock or something, it would bounce, not a rock, but a bump. It would bounce and it would scratch the ground. And on that guy's bumper had a bumper sticker that said something or other about, Navy lifer or Navy something, right? And I was like, I had 13 years in the Navy and I was considering getting out versus staying long term. And it occurred to me, I was like, you know what? I can't do anything on 100% of my base pay, but I'm going to retire on 50% of my base pay. I can't do anything on 100% of it. And so the idea is that look around the environment of where you are and what is the likelihoods that you're able to reach your boss's position, and what would that give you, right? And so when I looked at network marketing, I said, I can reach those levels. Okay, and those levels are big income. I can reach those levels, okay? And so with that, tell me what you think about this video. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, please. And thanks for watching.